Hey, TC McCarthy here. Today on my channel, we're going to talk about the WOW signal and also what are these fast kind of signals and bursts that we're getting that astronomers can't really explain at this point? Are they signs of alien intelligence? Are they some sort of natural physical phenomenon? I don't know. You don't know. We'll figure it out. Hey, you've tuned in to TC McCarthy, the most handsome and entertaining science fiction author on video. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you watched my last video where I thanked all of you for helping to make this channel possible and help me with my growth in the last 6 months in terms of subscribers. Please buy my book. I'm not going to go into it in as much detail as I have in past videos. It's available for pre-order. Watch this video here. Pew! If you want to know why pre-ordering is important. So what are we going to talk about today? The WOW signal. Let's get started there, and then we're going to move into this other concept that I gave in the intro, which is this fast signal concept. But anyway, the WOW signal. If you know what it is, stop watching this video right here. You can move forward to the next part of later on in this video where I start talking about the fast signals. If you know about both of them, well, then skip to another video. Go watch someone else's channel. I don't care. On August 15th, 1977, a radio astronomer, Jerry Amon at Ohio State, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, he was checking out the signals coming in as he was, doing his astronomy thing. And the interesting thing is when you're doing astronomy when you're doing radio astronomy, so much data comes in that Jerry wasn't actually there when the signal came through. It was only as a few days later, he was going through all the data that had been collected, and all of a sudden he noticed this spike. And what happened was there was this transmission that lasted about 72 seconds. And when Jerry saw it, he knew right away that it was anomalous and that it was very, very interesting. And so he circled it and wrote, I don't know if he circled it actually, but I know he wrote WOW exclamation point next to it. I'll put a picture of it here because it's pretty well known. Now, as soon as he found that signal, his first thing that he had to do was basically go and rule out, was this man-made? Was it coming from a local thing? Was it something like radio bouncing off of some sort of atmospheric phenomenon that was occurring? All those kinds of things. Everything was ruled out. This came from space. The other thing that was interesting, I'm not going to go into the frequency exactly, but it was very close to the frequency of hydrogen. If you know anything about SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, one of the kind of assumptions that those researchers make is that if we're looking for a life form somewhere else at another star, then probably that life form is going to, hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, and so they've hypothesized that a civilization trying to reach out and contact us is going to communicate with us at that frequency, the frequency of hydrogen. And the WOW signal, although not identical to that frequency, was almost identical. Very, very close. And then the next question is, where did it come from? If we rule out all the local locations, one of the things is for this particular radio telescope, it would basically follow the rotation of the Earth to orient itself from side to side. And what it saw was in the first 36 seconds, the signal got stronger and stronger and stronger. And then the next 36 seconds, it got weaker and weaker and weaker. Exactly what you would expect for something that was extraterrestrial in origin. Now, unfortunately, it was a long time ago, and there wasn't enough equipment or, telescopes oriented to kind of give a precise idea of where the signal came from, but they narrowed it down to basically 2 possible spots. And both are located vaguely, I think, in the constellation Sagittarius, or very, very, very close by. Now, if I'm wrong about that, I'll go ahead and put a correction up here to give the exact location, so make sure you pay attention to what pops up here to my left. You're right, I think. You'll figure it out. Now, throughout the years, there have been several naysayers who tried to come up with explanations as to, what this could have been. And quite frankly, I'm not going to go in detail into each of them, but as I go through them, it's kind of like, Now, these are just people who try to come up with these explanations, and although they seem like they could be possible, the fact of the matter that we only saw it once, that it increased in strength and then decreased, none of them really make sense in the overall context. None of them can explain all the data. So everybody keeps coming back to the idea of this is extraterrestrial. In fact, in 2012, the Arecibo Observatory actually beamed a signal in the direction of where we think the signal originally came from, and it included a bunch of tweets along with some digital headers to kind of give it a repetitive nature, so that anybody watching the sky could see this repetition and kind of latch onto it for, hey, I better look at this. This looks interesting. So that's the WOW signal. There's a history where we've been looking at radio signals from the stars, and this is probably one of the more famous ones, but what we're looking for is something out of the ordinary, something that doesn't kind of match what we'd expect from things like quasars, from pulsars, from those sorts of things. And so When we get to this next topic, the topic of fast transmissions or fast radio bursts, you can see why everybody keys in on it and thinks it's very, very cool. Because look, likely it's going to have a scientific explanation, but we're interested in the ones that don't. And the question I have as I look through the data on fast radio bursts is, what is the scientific explanation? And if we can't figure out one, well, then should we consider the extraterrestrial, idea that the idea that did the signal originate in some sort of star system and have some sort of extraterrestrial life form involved with its origin? Now, fast radio bursts aren't rare. They happen. Sometimes they repeat, and the repetition is not uniform, and so they're very odd. And a study was published recently in Nature that basically said, look, the release of energy involved with these fast bursts is enormous, about the equivalent to the amount of energy that our sun puts off in a day. That's a lot. And then there's this thing that happens with the one that repeats. Basically, scientists are focusing on that one for study. The one that repeats, the radio waves get twisted, and the only way that can happen is by passing in close proximity, they think, to something that has a very, very strong gravitational field like a black hole. The other possibility is that this signal is coming from a system that resides inside a powerful, powerful nebula. And so as they look at these things, scientists are kind of inching towards a neutron star maybe being the explanation. But again, this is one of these cases where if it's a neutron star, right, no one explanation that we thought of so far other than extraterrestrial life form, no one scientific explanation really kind of addresses all the features that we see in these fast bursts. And so people, again, keep coming back to this. Is it some sort of alien life form beaming signals? How cool is that? I mean, that would be awesome. You know, if you've ever seen that movie with Jodie Foster based on the book by Carl Sagan, Contact, great movie. I suggest you watch it. Imagine being the radio astronomer to first kind of latch on to one of these signals and be the one to really discover some sort of transmission that came from another star, from an alien life form. That would be awesome. Basically, that would be the biggest piece of news in the whole entire history of the human race. Right now, we're just going to have to wait, though. We still don't have an answer on fast bursts. We still don't have an answer on the WOW signal, so both of them are something that I love to keep an eye on and read about. Anyway, give me your thoughts in the comments below, what you think about this stuff. Thanks again for watching this video. Please pre-order my book, End Transmission. Hey, TC McCarthy here, the most eclectic and entertaining science fiction author on YouTube, maybe even the internet. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. As usual, buy my books. I've got a new one coming out in July, and I'll have a giveaway coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. Appreciate you subscribing to my channel, and please, 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 please don't forget to click that little bell icon so that whenever I upload new content, you get notified. Thanks again. See you soon.